So now we're going to look at creating a table. This is a very powerful feature of Excel, and far more powerful than Outline, far more flexible, and you can just do much more with it. So let's just start out and take a look at what it means. I'm going to take the sales history and I'm going to make a copy of it. I'm just going to do this. I'm going to select it. I'm going to create a new worksheet and paste everything in, and then I'll name it data or just table like that. Now, this is exactly the same as the worksheet we were using for outlining, but I'm going to do things a little bit differently. In order to turn it into a table, all I have to do is click anywhere inside this list. And just to refresh, this list is 800 and some rows long. And it's got a handful of columns going across. At any rate, to turn it into a table, I click anywhere inside on any cell. And then I come up to the Insert panel and select Table. When I do that, it automatically finds the boundaries of the table. So the table starts at A1 and goes down to H. 840, and it also looked at the data and said it guessed that that first row is a header. It is. So I click on OK, and poof, it's been turned into a table. Now, right off the bat, it looks different. It has highlighted the header row in a dark background with white font, and it's taken all the data rows down here and alternated a darker row and a lighter, darker and lighter. The other difference is it's got these little triangle icons sitting here on the corners of it. So now Excel thinks of what used to be a bunch of individual cells as a table all on its own. And if I scroll all the way to the bottom of it, you'll see that there's a little tiny icon right here in the bottom corner. And that indicates the lower right boundary of the table. Let's go back up to the top. Now, once we've created a table and the cursor is sitting in any of its cells, you get this design, Table Tools Design menu up here. And one of the first things to do that's interesting about it is to click on Table Styles, and out will pop a menu that will give us a variety of different colors. Let me slide this over so you can see it better. Different colors. So I can pick a red theme or a green theme, or a light blue theme, something like that. Or I can pick black and white themes, like so. I'll just pick the red theme, like that. Now, what's going on with this? What are these icons for? Well, let's bop back here very quickly. This showed how to create the sheet. You click on the Insert tab and then Table. It finds the boundaries automatically. And poof, you get this changed appearance with icons in the header row, the alternating colors on the rows, and I showed you how to change the colors coming up to the Design tab and picking a pattern or a palette. Now, the interesting thing about this is it's very easy to filter and sort a table. So let's take an example. Let's say we want to sort the table on widget. Well, if we come back here, this table happens to be sorted on date initially. So it goes from 2012 all the way down toward the end of 2016. If I come up here and say, well, I want to filter this thing on widget name, I can come up here and drop this down and select Sort A to Z, and that will sort on widget. If I want to sort on sale date, newest to oldest, I can go like that, and the 2017 records come to the top. If I want to sort on customer, I can drop this down and sort on customers like that. So it's very easy to sort. I can sort on any column I want. If I want to see what the largest sale was, I would sort largest to smallest like that, and I can see that there are sales of $5,500 were the biggest. If I want to see what the biggest total sale was, I can sort small, or not smallest, but largest to smallest, and I'll see that we had some sales of $93,000. So that's real easy to do. We could come up here and do this, but it's easier to just do it right here on the panel. That's sorting. The other big capability of these things is filtering. Let me show you how to sort on multiple columns. That's a part of this as well. I can come up here. Suppose I want to sort on widget, and then within widget, customer. Well, I can sort on widget like so, and that will organize it. Or I can sort on customer like so. But suppose I want to sort on widget first and then customer. I can come up here on the Data tab and say I want to sort on widget from A to Z. Then I add another level and say then I want to sort on customer from A to Z. Now I'm sorting on 2 columns of the table. So within the 423 powder, it was Biddle, then Franz, then Hiram, Jefferson, and so on. In the 788 powder, Biddle, then Franz, and so on, because these are all now sorted by customer. And as you go from one powder to the next, you can see it went from Westlake Specialty Tool to Biddle Pipelines. When you have the table sorted on a column, you get a little sort icon up here, the upward arrow on these icons to indicate that right now the table is sorted on those columns. The next thing to look at is how to filter a table. This is extremely powerful. Suppose your boss says, show me the sales for just the AG16 widget. Well, I come up here in this panel right here, and I get a list. I drop this down by clicking on the triangle. I get a list of all of every single widget's type that is in that column. So I can scroll down and find AG16. Well, first I'll undo select all. Then I'll scroll down and select AG16 and click on OK. And all I'm getting now are the AG16 widgets. That's the bottom of the table. The other rows are still in the table, but you can see we're just skipping over those rows. Row 1 to 139, 140, 141, and so on, up to 178. And then at the very end, it goes from 199 to 841. So I can filter very quickly. I can filter on multiple values. So if I want to see the 548 powder and the AG16 and the tin 42, if I want to see those combinations, I can select like this. And now I have the 548 powder and the AG16 and then finally the tin 42. So I can filter it very quickly. Let's see. Let's clear the filter by coming up here and saying select all, or you can say clear filter from widget. And that will put us back to where we were, where now there's no rows hidden. All the rows are exposed in the table. Let's look at other forms of filtering. I already pointed out that the hidden rows are still there. They're just hidden. There's a very powerful way of filtering on dates. Let's go take a look at dates. So I've got my dates here as sale date. And let's say I want to do date filters. It's sticking off the side of my screen, so I'll bring it over so you can see it. I want to do date filters, and I want to filter on, let me slide this up the screen so you can see it easier. I want to filter, well, you can't see it, but I'm going to pick last year from the list. So now, since this is being made in 2017, it picked just the 2016 records are showing up. So I was able to filter just on that. I can also filter in this way by selecting from here. I can clear my filters and then come back and say, okay, show me just 2016 and 2015. So I can use the check boxes, and now I'll get just those 2 years that are showing up inside the table. So that's very handy. And in date filters, I also have a between where I can type in date. So I can say 1/1/2015 to 2/15/2015. So I just want to see it from January to the middle of February in 2015. And when I put that in, I get just those records will come up. Now let's clear the filter on that. One of the things you can do, let me make sure I'm not getting away from it, is you can filter on contains. So some of the widget types have the word powder in them. Let's say I want to just see all powder type widgets. I can come up here, text filters, and select contain. Then I type in contains powder. This is like a wildcard search, only you don't have to type wildcards. And now I have nothing but powder filters, powder widgets that show up in the thing. So that's very easy to do. Look at the other kinds of text filters there are. Begins with, ends with. Those are just our wildcards, except that you don't have to type them. Does not contain. I can see everything that is not a powder. Does not contain powder. Now it's filtered away everything that has to do with the powder, and I see the non-powder filters. So that's real handy. Now, suppose I wanted to quickly narrow down, let's say just customer Fran. So I'll put in a text filter. Well, I can do it here. I'll click on just Fran like that. Now I've got only her records. Okay, and let's say I want to see the size only of the medium widgets that Fran bought. And of those, I want to see in my colors only cyan and gray. So now I've taken 800 some rows and filtered it down to this many. So you can apply filters on multiple columns. Look, I have filters on customer, on size, and on color. So I can quickly narrow it down. Look at the numeric quantities, like the numeric values like quantity or price. Let's say I want to see only sales where the quantity was greater than 5 widgets. Now I'm filtering down to just a handful of records in the whole list, and I've got filters on 1, 2, 3, 4 columns all the way along. I can quickly come in and change other columns and say, well, you know what, show me small instead of medium. And now I can see, now I'm down to what, like 6 records out of the 800 some, because I've applied filters on Fran, quantity greater than 5, small size, and colors gray or cyan. It's real easy to do this kind of quick analysis and say, well, just how many records there were. And by the way, when I do this kind of filtering, I can see that with those criteria on, she only bought the 1056 and the Zinc 22 widget styles. So you can apply filtering on multiple columns, and when you have them across a whole bunch, you can come up here on the Design tab and just say Clear, and it'll take away all filters in a single click. So we filtered on powders. Now let's go look at totaling. I can come up here on the Design tab for the thing and say I want a total row to show up. And when I do, it puts a total row down at the bottom of the table. Notice it scrolled me all the way down to row 841. And it put 839 as a count here. That's the number of rows that are in the table. I can take my total here and sum it up. And I can do price or quantity and say what was the average amount for a sale. Was 8.65 was the quantity. Let's remove some of the decimal places from that, like so. So 8.7 was the usual quantity. So now I've got these totals sitting in the bottom row of the table. Let's go up to the top. Let's filter on just some one kind of widget, AU16, and look at that. There were only 9 sales of AU16. They totaled $7,974 with an average quantity of 8.4. Suppose I want to look at a different widget. The 548, let's clear all, and then we'll select the 548 widget. Now I've got more records. If I scroll down, I got 24 of them. Quantity average 9.1, 10,000. The beauty of this thing is it takes all the power of the conditional functions like SUMIF, AVERAGEIF, COUNTIF, it puts them in your total row down here so that you can create totals that would have taken some function writing before, but now you don't need to do that at all. You can just use these drop downs. And if you think about it, it's much quicker, and it's far harder to make a mistake here. You're much more confident that that is really the right total for the 548 powder, and you don't have to worry, did I write that SUMIF properly? So that's what tables will do for you. It's a huge amount of capability built into this thing. And oh, by the way, once you've created a table and you want to go back to a range, you can click in the table, come up here to the Design tab, and just select Convert to Range. Do you want to do this? I say yes. And now it still maintains the coloring, but it's back to a bunch of individual cells right now. Excel does not think of it as a table. It just thinks of it as individual cells. So that's the scoop on tables in Excel.